Hey, it's Sam from MissionMonday.com, and over there is
It-
Waffle Chef Extraordinaire,
yeah.
and
Yes. Waffles this morning for breakfast, Sam. It's a traditional thing in the house. I don't know if it's tradition. It's just what I make well.
everybody's got to have their something. And I'm glad yours is waffles. I'm more of a waffle guy than a pancake guy, anyway.
Yeah, I like when the butter gets in those little squares.
What was the hand gesture for butter in the little squares again?
Little squares looks like that.
All right, I dig it. I know what you're saying. It's compartmentalizing of the sweet goodness.
Absolutely.
All right, hey Mark, it's my understanding you got an idea for a mission this time.
Oh yeah. So I saw.
You just realized that.
I get 2 yeahs for it. I saw on Twitter a while back this poster thing, and it said, "Try to go 24 hours without complaining." And so it's always kind of stuck with me because, initially I thought, it's pretty easy, 24 hours without complaining. So anyway, I would like to make that a mission for students and staff and volunteers in the world to try to go 24 hours without complaining. Now, we field tested it already for everybody. So I'm going to give you a little insight on it, if I might.
That's good, because I have questions.
Okay. So I made a poster and I put it up. Maybe I'll tweet it out on our Mission Monday. So real simple, and just said, I went 24 hours without complaining. Actually, it would look this way, I think. I went 24 hours without complaining, and then you could sign it if you made it, right?
Gotcha.
But the idea there is, that includes school, home, next morning, whatever it takes. So you can go 23 and a half hours with not complaining and then complain, and you'd have to start it all over again. Now, the tough part is, see, here's the tough part, Sam. This may be one of your questions, is who decides if what's complaining or not?
Not one of my questions. Glad you brought it up anyway.
Okay, so who decides who gets to sign it? And so that was interesting. Some teachers wanted to be in control of when students signed it or not. Some teachers let students just be in control of that. But I think what's vital is the conversation of what complaining sounds like and looks like.
See, now I like this. This is interesting because there is a fundamental element to most missions we do that this is missing. And for me, that's always, is it observable? And not complaining isn't observable. I mean, you could say, I could see that person and I don't see them complaining. Well, you also don't see them hula hooping. So anytime it's a mission where we ask people to not do something, you can't watch what's not happening.
That is true. Now, if a student said, I did hula hoop at home, you're going to have to take them on their word for it, because that would be an integrity piece. So this mission would also add an integrity piece to it.
It definitely adds an integrity piece, but I also like that you made a observable element to it. But it does have integrity to it. It's like, oh, we've got this poster, and hey, I made it 24 hours. It was my goal. I have signed up, and now I'm good to go. So you added an observable piece in it. Even though you can't technically observe what's not happening, you get that vibe. And then you can observe, all right, I have followed through, and now look at my name. That's up there. It's a symbolic, observable manifestation of what's not happening. That ought to be a chapter in the next one.
Let me tell you what's really funny is I put the poster up in the office area, and so what was interesting is, so it's right where people walk by, especially after lunch. So they're always looking at it, and so you'll get a kid who'll stop by and say, "Hey, I get to sign that. I went 24 hours without complaining." And then a teacher might say, "If you remember this morning in math, blah blah blah," and so the kid then will start complaining.
No,
getting to sign the poster, and then I always jump in.
No, you don't.
And I say, oh, you know what? Right now you're complaining about not getting to sign the complaining poster, which technically you don't get to sign it now. So we'll start your time again.
It almost seems like maybe your sadistic side enjoyed this mission a little too much.
I tell you what, it is a challenge. 24 hours is a pretty good chunk of time without complaining. And so you will also have to define for yourself, what is complaining and not complaining. Because I try to even get by and say, oh, I'm not complaining, I'm just stating the facts.
It sounds like a very Mark Johnson thing to do.
Right.
I have another question. Since you had it up in your front office, did you ever have parents come in there and start to talk about stuff, and then your secretary said, I guess you don't get to sign the poster?
You know what? It wasn't observable for me. I didn't notice that.
Okay.
Might have happened. I didn't see it.
I think that would be a great idea. No, I think that'd be a horrible idea, but I still think it's really funny.
Unless you had, complete buy-in from everybody. That's like, you can call me out on my flaws.
Yeah, I can see that. That's good stuff, man. Well, I am looking forward to unrolling it in my world and unrolling it to the world this next week. So it should be a good time.
I hope so.
All right, you got anything else for us?
Had some recent book sales. Had a little spike. That was exciting.
Yeah, like 50-ish on the 16th.
So would love a bigger spike. So if you haven't had a chance to read that book, get on Amazon, check it out. It happens in the hallway.
If you also want to buy a book the hard way, they're going to be for sale through Youth Light Publishing at the Developmental Resources National Conference on School Discipline in Las Vegas. So buy a book the hard way. You could buy a ticket to Vegas, register for the conference, bring down just a quarter to put in a slot machine, and then gamble until you won enough, $5.50 to buy the book. Go online and buy it. But the other way sounds like a better story.
It's a way better story.
Anyway. All right, man. Well, I guess I will see you next week for the next mission.
All right. Sounds good. See you, Sam.
All right, later.